Yeah, everything about the way everyone didn't play all this year. Well, I think reach out to you.
Try to get it when I'm done. I got a grandson.
Your son, yeah. Your son. Best friend.
Can they go,
Yes. I was going by this
He runs that business, and that's a side piece. Like seated for like.
Get a toaster, we're done by 6:30.
Going up to 25. They're all very.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. We're going to table last month's minutes, unforeseen situations taking place. So we'll have them ready for next month, right, Rachel? Okay. Well, Justin, let's start with you, wherever you're at.
Well, I'll start with the police department. I got a little update from them. He's not able to be here. They both had a meeting at 5:30.
Okay.
He said that the car is getting outfitted. They've been waiting on it for a couple weeks now, since before Christmas. It should be back soon. It's getting new cameras this week, and then it will be finished. The Flex and Mobile is up and running and almost finished on that end. They are working with the county to get the funds for citations. And so there's a little bit more, but pretty basic stuff.
Okay.
On to utilities. We'll get the interlocal agreement that was approved last month between, you guys approved the agreement between the town and the Monroe Township. I was down there Monday night for their annual meeting. They did approve it and signed it, so I need a signature from us to finalize that, and then I'll get a copy back to Mr. Walker.
Clay, do we need a motion for that?
No, you previously moved and approved it.
Eight.
Not yet, I'll move to that next. So the next one that we approved on our end pending the county parks board was for the agreement, the interlocal agreement that would allow us to improve the park prior to the transfer of the property to the town. That is getting taken care of Monday night at their parks board meeting. Steve Bailey and I will be attending that, and once signed by them, I'll bring it to you, Mike, for a signature.
Okay.
Let's see here. Today, we had the high service pump at the water plant was installed today. Went very smooth, everything's up and running. And so now that the water plant is currently all new and rehabbed, the only last piece that I've got back at the water plant in the well house is a VFD. When the project initially occurred, the VFD was sized for the old well pump, and we upsized the well pump during the project due to unforeseen issues. And the new motor is slightly bigger than what the VFD will allow to run at full capacity. So I've reached out to Hofstadter Electrical Services out of Bern. They build control panels and do high voltage electrical work, and asked him to supply a quote for replacing the VFD for the well pump in the well house. That quote came back at $6,524. I would ask that the board approve this replacement, and then we can do one of two things with the old. We can hold it for a backup if ever needed, if we had something happen and we needed something to get us by, or we could try and sell it. I do know of some area places that may be interested in it, and we could get a little bit of money back out of it. I know they could use it. But with technology and the way it changes about every 30 seconds, I don't know that it is going to be worth holding on to for too extended long a time.
How much do you think you can get out of it?
I'd have to get it priced. I'd have to get somebody to look at it and give me
And
an
then
estimate on
that's to basically ramp it up slowly and come down slowly, opposed to start stop.
it. Right. Yep, it controls the way it ramps up and ramps down so that you don't have the wear and tear on the motor as well as the well casing. They do work phenomenal. I take care of a system that doesn't have one, and they just hammer hard. They're not good. So this one will be plenty big to handle it. So
Do we need more than one quote?
no,
No, I think it's a certain amount, and I think it's below that.
I'll have to-
motion for guys.
Yeah, I would like to look into selling it.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with that.
okay.
Yeah, see what you can get out of it.
I'll see what a used one's going to be worth. It's not that old, so I mean, it should still have some pretty decent value to it.
I'll entertain a motion to purchase this VFD.
Okay.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Kind of something else related to this that's not in here. We're still sitting, when we did the project, at the time of the design, we had 2 transfer pumps that were on the Decatur line, used to increase the flow up into the filter and aerator. Decatur made some changes, and we found we didn't have to have those pumps in motors. They're just sitting in the barn, collecting dust. So with your approval, I would like to figure out what I can get out of those, and then we'll sell those and put the money back into the water fund.
I'm game for that. Guys?
There's no chance that any other changes will happen and we'll need them.
No, because the high service pumps are 50 horse pumps. These pumps, I can't remember the horsepower on them, but they are split case horizontal pumps, and the piping is not set up in there anymore for that with what Decatur's done. They've only increased their pressure and the size of their pumps, so the pressure should never come back down. So
I'll make a motion to sell the 2 pumps.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
moving on. I did look into what it would cost to pave Hawker Street like we talked, to see if it's something that we would maybe be able to do. The rough estimate was approximately $60,000, but there was a water leak on that road, and upon opening it up, there was not enough asphalt there to mill. So that road's gonna require a lot more work than just a simple resurface. So, Westler, if you remember, a couple months ago, we've been working on the force main to burn, trying to figure out where our blockages might be. We have seen an increase in our flow through some stuff. We've added some gauges on our air relief valves, and a couple of those we had to shut completely down to replace ball valves. And upon starting the system back up, it did help improve that line, but the study done based on the pressures observed on the line once we got them all replaced revealed that there are issues at the ditches like we've kind of anticipated. The idea that I had prior to all this was to cut open, add a blow-off style vault that we could hook up to the semi and blow into the semi using our own pumps. There was a little bit of concern on Westler's end that we wouldn't have the power to do that with our pumps, but to keep things simple and cheaper, they agreed that it was definitely worth the shot before we added a second blow-off system that we would pump from one semi-tanker through the ditch line and then into the other semi-tanker. So something that doesn't necessarily need to be decided on right now. If you want to hear more, I talked to Ryan today. He is willing to have someone come over and explain this a little better to you. But
That's kind of
I'm hopeful that this will work without having to add two, but we may have to do it at every ditch line. It's not going to fix itself the first time, I'm sure, but that's kind of the direction that we're going to need to head with the force main. We saw 25, I think it was roughly a 25 PSI jump by shutting that off and letting the tank build some fluid for a while and then turning it back on. So hopefully, keep doing that, give it a shorter distance to push and go into a semi-tanker just past 300 south. Maybe we'll see some major improvement doing that a few times. But,
what would be a permanent fix to that?
replace it.
Yeah, it's a,
$4 million, bank $4 million to replace it.
And that goes all the way to Burn.
Yeah, it's about 5.5 to 6 miles roughly.
Would that be all on us?
Well, I mean, we could apply for grant funding like we did with the water and sewer projects, but, I mean.
How would that work with the county?
With what?
Would we need approval through the county to be able to do that stuff?
No, we got it right away. We might have to acquire more right away because it may push you out further. I don't know. I mean, it's not a cheap undertaking. That's why we elected to do what we did and do in the EQ basin. We could rehab both of our lift stations at the EQ basin. We did the storm or the smoke testing. We lined all of our manholes, put those Mr. Manhole concrete fixes around the tops of them and sealed them up. We saw huge improvement just by doing that. But you do all those improvements that are very much needed, and then you weigh that against 6 miles of force main. Your money's better spent keeping your system running and dealing with what comes down the road.
Right.
I don't know that I have.
Feel like we need more information, the better.
might,
Lead and copper stuff, and
Let him try this.
we'll keep pressing on that this spring. You'll see us with the back trailer, sucking up more services and verified lead and copper. Through the last fall, we had to send out more letters, obviously. to notify people that they have an unknown type of service line going into their house, whether it be on our side of the shut-off valve or their side or both. The goal is to verify all of them. I've been told there's no lead, but until we verify it, this is how we gotta approach it, so. Moving in the right direction.
You know, how many houses you got?
117. And then with the NDOT project and that water line and all those services will get replaced, there will be no verifications done on the highway. And then when that's done, then we'll note it, update the map, and that'll finish our inspection. So I'm hoping to have all the inspections done. I'm hoping next year I can finish everything but the highway. So, other than that, I don't. Let's see. A lot of the other stuff in there was just information for you guys. I did have a couple people request to be on the agenda. So, yeah, that's all I've got.
Justin, I got a question on Hopper Street. So that is in the budget to be able to do at this year, right?
You'd be throwing your money away to do what we were gonna do.
Yeah. So in order to do it right, it's not gonna happen this year. So, okay.
Probably won't happen next year. We'll dig that stone out, put some coal patch in there.
Okay, so the area where the water leak is gonna be still addressed when it gets warmer.
Yeah, when it gets warmer.
Okay.
We were gonna put some coal patch down and some potholes uptown, next to the
Okay.
old Monroe Green building. It's just too hard. We couldn't get it to break up.
Okay. And you did the tree branch. Did you guys get the tree branch off of Hopper?
Yeah, I took care of that.
You guys did a good job. That was done quick and I appreciate it.
I was a little nervous about that. I wasn't sure what to expect. I just got the call from the sheriff's department that
Yeah.
there's a tree down, so.
Yeah.
I would like to, I don't know, Clayton, are we allowed to meet as a board and discuss like a planning and I'd like to know what the board wants to see moving forward, like a plan of action, and I can bring them things all day long. I mean, I see it every day, but I want them to have a take in it. I want to hear what they'd like to see, where they'd like to see improvements. Is that something that we can do in an executive session or anything?
Possibly. I mean, let me look and see if I can make it fit under a specific executive session enumeration. But if not executive session, I mean, you could always have a special meeting, you know, some other time in the month to specifically talk about that. So that's also an available possibility.
Okay. I don't have anything else. Thank you.
Okay, well, you say you've got a couple of people who wanted to come, and I suppose it's probably to do with this.
That's one of them, yes.
Let's-
You'll be a little longer. Do you want to give your ask now?
Sure.
Josh Custer, he moved into 215 East Andrews Street. It's a corner of Studebaker and Andrews. He had asked me a question regarding right-of-way and a fence, and he's got some permissions. I'll let him explain what he's asking, and I personally, where he's asking to put his fence in, I don't have problems with it. We don't have nothing over there where he's planning on doing this, so.
Yeah, so I reached out to Justin when we were purchasing the property, and we were looking to put a 6-foot privacy fence up. Noticed on GIS, the right-of-way line seems to be way up into the yard. So I got a survey done, and from center of the roadway to the right-of-way line is 30 feet. So there's a vast majority of our side yard that is technically not ours, that it's all on the right-of-way. We've got a sidewalk that connects to the driveway. And our ask was basically to be able to encompass that sidewalk in our new, or where we want to put the fence. That way we have then direct access to our driveway from the fence. So I went through, Justin had told me I had to get a variance from Adams County, so I went to their board meeting in December, and they approved it on the assumption that you guys are okay with it since it's technically town Monroe's property. So here shows a rough visual of where the fence would go. This is coming off our side yard and coming down. Here is that sidewalk I was mentioning. So what we would be proposing is from center of roadway to the new fence is 23 feet. On the other side of the property, for the back side of the sidewalk where their property, or other side of the road, sorry, where their property line is from center of roadway to the back side of their sidewalk is 20 feet. So we're still greater than that. In the event that you guys would mimic the exact same design you have over here and put the sidewalk over here, there would still be 3 feet from the back side of the sidewalk. Here shows a little bit better, kind of, it's small, of where the property line is from the survey we had done, and then this red line would be where we want the fence to go. Here is some visual pictures to just kind of show you what we're talking about. This line's a little skewed because I'm at a different angle, but here shows the property line, this little hash yellow line, and then there shows where we would like to put the fence. From the edge of the road to where the fence would be is 13 feet still. And then the fence would terminate well before the intersection. Because that was one thing that they kept asking at Adams County was, is there any obstructions visually, for the intersection and stuff. But we would stop, at the corner of the house. We'd still have the whole house, plus there's a stop sign there at the intersection. So here shows it facing the other way.
Is this the same as what you're looking at?
Yeah. Yep. Here shows just facing the opposite way towards our driveway. So basically the fence, if we were allowed to put it up, would then allow us to have direct access to the driveway. What Adams County approved would be 7 foot from the existing property line in. I'm not asking for that property specifically. I understand that, if the event you guys need to put something through that right of way there, it's my responsibility. You rip the fence down, it's my responsibility to put a fence back. So I'm not asking for the property specifically, just to be able to put the fence up.
Did they see the picture that is on the county map? Did you show them the picture that was on the county map?
Here's which one.
I got it pulled up. I don't know what you were showing them as far as what your property looks like there. So.
Yeah. So I guess here's what the letter Adams County sent out before the board meeting.
So lot 20.
Yeah. So
You can see the yellow line, that's the right of way, basically is in front of his garage. So.
And based on the survey for MLS, when I pulled the string, that the line shifted in a little bit.
And that's just because of the way the picture was taken?
Yep.
Is it right of way, Justin, or is it deeded property to the town of Monroe?
And it should be right away. Or deeded owner. Deeded. All the streets shows deeded owner, because that highlights all the roads when you click on it. I assume they were all the same, one and the same right of way and.
No, right of way doesn't provide the town any property rights or interest. Like, we don't own right of way. Right of way just allows us to access the utilities, and it runs with the land, so whoever owns the land has to abide by that right of way.
Gotcha.
So the question is, and I mean, I don't think, there's obviously no problem, I don't think, with what he's asking, but I mean, it changes if this, whenever it was originally platted, or, the deed of record. I mean, did you say you had a survey done?
Yes.
Does your survey, when it comes to your deeded ownership, go to the road?
It is not.
So it actually stops right here. So we technically own this. So in reality, what you would probably want to do, and I'm sure these property owners would be more than happy to chip in for the legal work to have it done, is vacate this portion of land and then have the relevant property owners assume it.
Oh. Yeah, I don't know why it was put in so wide there, but.
Apparently way back in the day when they
Well,
were
right.
on the street, they were.
There are several other places in town that look just like that.
Yeah, I mean, quite a bit of the yard on the side of the house there.
Yeah, how do we go about that? Should we?
That's where I looked at that, Clayton, and I thought, I figured it was right away because you click on the road, it doesn't separate the road from anything else. It highlights everything in town. All the roadways show up just like that as a deeded owner. So I figured it was all one and the same.
I mean, that happened. Multiple municipalities have that problem. It's just because it's been that way for so long and nobody's changed it. But,
Okay.
I mean, I'm assuming the town of Monroe, we don't mow that patch of grass, do we? There's probably.
There'd be a lot of properties.
And I'm not trying, I mean, I guess I could provide it for them, but I mean, those private property owners, it runs with the land. There's probably even an argument for adverse possession at this point, which they don't need to do. I would assume, honestly, that can be vacated back to the relevant property owners pretty easily. Which in his case would be that whole sliver, his driveway and yard.
Would we want to vacate all of it though, or would we want to keep a little bit of that in case we did need to do something like stormwater or something along the road?
Well,
That's what right of way is.
Yeah.
Right of way provides you with, I guess, an interest, I'm using it in a legal sense, provides you with interest in that you have the ability to do that if needed, and the property owner understands that. I mean, it could be part of the vacation of it is also an agreement by the property owner to provide us right of way, and then that's recorded with his deed.
Or turned into a utility easement or whatever?
Yeah.
So how would we word that as far as like, we would vacate that with a 23-foot right of way, like you was saying, from center of the road?
Well, at this point, because, you really can't just do the vacation of that property tonight. That would take a petition, and you would need a survey of just that sliver so that we could add that legal description to the existing owner's deed of record. I mean, for the purposes of tonight,
He's looking for permission.
he's looking for permission to build the fence. I mean, that puts it makes it a little bit stickier because it's technically your property. I mean, I guess at this point, advise you that if you guys want to approve that, I don't think there's any problem. You know, in contemplation for what we just discussed, that vacation will probably happen or possibly happen in the future. You can approve it contingent on the property owner signing an agreement that I'll prepare here in the coming weeks related to, hold harmless, related, I mean, because, you get into all premises liability. It's your property. Somebody gets injured on it while constructing, who technically is in trouble? The town. So, I mean, it needs to be something reduced in writing. So,
Can you have that ready for the next meeting?
well before that, yes.
Okay, let's go. I would entertain a motion if we can do that then.
I'll make a motion to move forward on that. Is that okay with you?
Yeah, I guess that's fine. I mean, we were looking to get the fence up quickly, but because now we just have a temporary snow fence, basically, it does not look well. But, I mean, if that's the case, by then the ground's gonna be frozen and we won't install till the spring, I guess.
How long do you think it'd take? Can we?
Well, with their approval, you're giving them approval to do it, so you can put it in. They're just gonna have paperwork.
I would just say again, that you can approve that tonight, but just make the approval contingent on there being an executed document that I'll provide, within a week or so.
But we're gonna have to have that surveyed again, correct?
No, not for this. If you want to if you guys are intent, and really that does, to some extent, that falls upon the property owner, so you could always even call me on the side and talk about that. The property owner, the private citizen can petition the town to vacate that property
Correct.
back, which seems like that'd be a good thing to do. It's actually a good chunk of property. And we can talk about that on the side. This is just, he can put the fence up contingent on him agreeing and signing an agreement that'll be provided by the town attorney's office.
Okay.
I'll make that motion.
Sorry. You want a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor? Aye.
Good to have lawyers.
Thank you, guys. So just so I'm clear, we can put the fence up and just, I'm agreeing that I will sign. Or do I need to wait?
I mean, I'll get you the agreement here, if not by the end of the week.
Okay.
Okay, next one.
Next, we have Jeff Soldner.
Oh, sorry.
All right.
Folks, first off, I want to thank you for your time. Basically, I am Jeff Sommer. I'm a class of 72 alumni, and I have been thinking about doing this project for some time, I will tell you that. Next slide. Bottom line up front, we would like to get a group of people together to establish a Veterans Memorial for all AC alumni who served, okay? The feature will be a memorial plaza, typically with memorials to each of the services, and then one for the graduates who have served or more. And then a central feature being a static display aircraft, hopefully a fighter, on some type of a pylon, okay? And the purpose is to inspire remembrance and install community pride. And I think everybody that wants to get behind this is going to look back and say, hey, not a bad deal. Next slide. They have three sponsoring organizations. The first one is Adams Central Community Schools. They own the land that we want to put this on. And they may also be the applicant with the National Museum of the Air Force that we put an application in for a static display aircraft. The second is the town of Monroe. Now, I've since become aware of a maybe easier way and better way of obtaining that aircraft through the government surplus program in conjunction with working with the National Museum. And that's where you guys come in. You are a better entity to supply or organize with the state of Indiana to obtain that through the surplus program. And then we have the supporting entity, which is the AC Veterans Memorial and Static Display, Inc., which I have established with the state of Indiana. And I'll be responsible for the funding, design, build, and maintenance. And that's important, the maintenance of this project. Next slide. Proposed location, it needs the criteria from the Air Force, has to be highly visible, easily accessible, and by that for handicap. So we need parking that is close by. And we want it to be a small footprint. We don't want the Adams Central folks to have to mow a huge area or something of that nature. So we're going to minimize how much space we use, but hopefully maximize the impact with the visual. Next slide. Okay, the application process typically for the Air Force or the Navy is typically handled by their national museums, okay? You put an application through there, either a town, a community like yourself, or a school corporation, or even a business entity such as what I've created, can go ahead and apply. They qualify, okay? Timeline is not quick. This going through the Air Force normal process is between 2 and 4 years. And I can attest to that. I had a lot of experience with this up at the Air National Guard, where I served 39 years, was highly interested and also part of the process that got the Heritage Park established out front. You can't just call them up and get a jet, okay? The title typically remains with the military branches. It is only loaned to you folks if you go through the museum route. However, if you go through the government surplus route, you own that thing. It's just like getting a fire truck through the government surplus program. And I'm not sure if you guys maybe have already applied for something at the state level for surplus equipment. I don't know. But it's easy enough to work with them to get an application in for your town. Next slide. Okay. Utilizing the federal surplus program, it's easier. I mean, the museum has all kinds of rules. There's a regulation that I know Superintendent McClure has looked at, and it's number of pages long. It's like anything government rate associated with. So the surplus program provides an easier way to apply for a jet. Now, how do we get a jet out of the government surplus program? You do it by showing the museum that you have already collected your money, you've already either started the construction process or maybe have it complete, and you go back to them and say, look, here's a
great location for one of your jets. Air Force gets a lot of publicity out of these things. It's a great recruiting tool. They love that stuff. And the museum then says, okay, we want to get you a jet. They work with the Iron Flow people at the Pentagon and allow them to designate an aircraft. And there's always aircraft floating around. I will tell you that are getting ready to be assigned either to the boneyard or maybe they'll turn them into a drone. But if you can get the attention of the museum to designate your organization for a surplus aircraft, you can shorten that 2 to 4 year timeline. Okay? So that's a little bit of the trick, and I'll show you a slide at the end of some folks that actually accomplished that. Okay? The donor actually, as I said before, owns the piece of equipment. Okay? So that would become a part of the town of Monroe. I mean, it would literally be a piece of equipment assigned to you. So, do you want that? Well, yes and no. You don't want to maintain it. You don't want to have to pay for its continued operation. So that's the purpose of the business entity, to raise the funds that will go to supporting that. Next slide. And this is just more to do with this. I will just point out the bottom statement. The government surplus program was recommended to us by the National Museum of the Air Force curator. Okay, he said to me, you know, the fastest way to get a jet is to go through the surplus program. So that's where the town of Monroe really becomes a pretty important cog in this whole operation. Next slide. All right, construction process will consist of designing the memorial. I think we can have some fun with that. We can probably get maybe even the school graphic arts department associated with that. I'm sure that there's alumni out there with a lot of talents that could help us out in coming up with a good design. The design of the static display takes some engineering, but folks, we're very fortunate that we have right down the road here, Decatur Pre-Stress. They donated a couple of the uprights that we used in our Heritage Park up there at Fort Wayne, and they've already done the engineering for support one of their pre-stressed concrete pylons. And, you know, the amount of concrete you need to hold that damn thing in the ground and not have a jet blow away. So we're very fortunate in that standpoint that there's some ready-made help right down the road. Once you get the design process over with, you got the money, you can start in on site preparation, okay? And build your memorial and display base, okay? We want to get that built so that we got something to show the Air Force Museum that, look, we're ready. Let's get a jet. And then really involves waiting for the aircraft. And there could be some time involved in that, but hopefully we get lucky. And always, you know, fire pod saying, I'd rather be lucky than good. Oh, next slide. All right, cost and funding. Funding source has to be 100% private donations, okay? I'm gonna try to get a 501c3 nonprofit status for the business entity that I did. And once we do that, we can start our fundraising campaign. How much money is it gonna take? I'm figuring I got a rough budget of 150 grand that I'm gonna shoot for on our fundraising campaign. That's about $60,000 or $70,000 to transport that aircraft from wherever it is to wherever you want it to be. And you want to have some professionals do that. And there's companies around that do that. They're used to taking the wings off a jet and transporting it on a flatbed to wherever you need to take it. And they'll also do the installation of a mounting plate on the bottom side of the jet. So, I mean, you really need to spend the money up front to do it right, okay? The construction budget, that's the vast majority of what's involved in building that plaza and also the upright. And I'm hoping that there's some donations involved here, maybe from local corporations, but I think I've got roughly $25,000 to $30,000 for the plaza and the upright, and we'll see where that puts us. Our fundraising strategy is to seek corporate donations, either monetary, labor, or materials. We may do a GoFundMe campaign. I'm not so sure about that. Community outreach and press releases. I think the more we can promote this, we'll start collecting money. I watched the way that you folks built that ballpark out on the east side of town. And Dave Solner, believe it or not, is a SureTel relation of mine. And he has got a wealth of ideas on how to raise money. So I am sure that once we get a hold of our alumni, we can go ahead and be successful in our fundraising efforts. Next slide. We'll obviously recognize our donors. That's just taking a picture of the bricks that you had out there at your ballpark. And major donors will be recognized probably with a separate plaque. So we'll come up with ideas on how much people can donate to obtain one of those items. Bottom line is, I think it's important that folks know that they can have a little bit of a piece of this Veterans Memorial. And next slide. Okay, so what's in it for the community? I think really it's just we build public awareness of the AC Jet brand, okay? We're gonna install community pride. I don't care what you're doing, if there's any type of a veterans operation going. I've watched the folks up at O'Day Road that have built that Vietnam Veterans Memorial. They've gotten tremendous support through that community around there and from all over. So I'm not even limiting this to the town of Monroe or just the AC community. I say we get the word out there and people will want to support the project, okay? And at the end of the day, we've got a lasting tribute to our local veterans, okay? Last slide. We're not the first ones to do this, okay? There's a small community high school called Union Local. It's about 70 miles east of Columbus, just off of 70. And last year, they got themselves an old Thunderbird jet that had been a maintenance trainer down at Shepherd Air Force Base. And they did it by exactly what I've been briefing to you folks. They went through the museum, but then went to them and said, we're ready, where's our jet? And those guys immediately got all over it. Air Force got all over it, and they had a jet pledged to them inside of about a 3-month period of time from the time that they went to the museum. So it can be done. The other one that you see to the right is from Highland Home, a small community outside of Montgomery, Alabama. Me and my wife were coming back on 335 out of Florida one time, and I just happened to glance, and here's a jet on a stick. And went up and found out that they had a local organization that funded it. They go by, Highland Home goes by the Flying Squadron. Oh, by the way, Union Local is also known as the Flying Jets. So that tie-in works very well from the Air Force standpoint. Okay, so I think we're going to seek the support of a lot of people, try to get as many involved as possible. Once again, the legacy will be having a lasting tribute to our veterans that graduated from Adams Central. And I think I will just tell you, this project can get done. And I wouldn't be standing here if I didn't think it could. So, I'm looking for your support. Right now, what do we have to do? Well, you have to sign on, shall we say. You have to be willing to be the sporting organization that maybe goes to bat for us to get the jet through the surplus program. That's what I'm asking you folks right now. So, and there's no decisions that have to be made tonight. This is a proposal, and I've already made a proposal to the school system. I think they're pretty much on board. And I don't know, Superintendent McClure, do you have anything you'd like to add to this?
Well, yeah, I think first off, just from a school standpoint, like you said, our nickname's the Jets, and I think just beyond that, the opportunity for us to recognize just those in our community that have served and help us maintain just the blessings that we're all privy of by and large in our country and our local communities. So I know in working with Jeff, partly like you said, is originally kind of generated through the school, but then once he kind of discovered that it might be a little easier to get this through the surplus program, I think that's where it's a little easier to have the town on board as far as the requesting entity. And I also know, just as we start looking, and I think this is maybe where Justin got involved a little bit, is just like, for example, out in front of the school, no location has been determined. Obviously, some ideas have been thrown out, but even there in front of the school, just on the south side, kind of where the flagpole is, would seem like a pretty likely spot. But again, whereas, as you guys were talking, some right-of-way things and then various things here earlier, that's the same kind of thing we have to look at exactly where does that fall, how does that make sense for the location of it. But again, speaking just on behalf of our board, I think there's definitely been some interest. I haven't heard any negative thoughts from anybody about it. It does seem like a great way to honor, again, those veterans in our community, whether they're specifically Adams Central grads or those that have grown up here. So I know probably for Clayton, maybe working with Augur, obviously you guys have the ability to touch base on some of these things. I know one of the things that we had to look at was just where's some of the liability as far as that goes. So somebody tries to put a ladder up there and climb up on top of it and take pictures, whatever it is. So we've got some things we've got to dig into with that, just via our insurance and things of that nature. But definitely looking forward to working through the process, and I appreciate Jeff's work. Pretty thorough in what he's pulling together here.
Yeah, and I'll simply add in that Superintendent McClure came up with a great idea of, we got to be legal on everything we do here, and it would probably involve them coming up with a contract or lease to the town of Monroe that you would pay $1 for, for however many years to lease the land to put your jet on the pylon. And I mean, all these things probably contractually have to be done. Conversely, I may have to come up with a contract for my business entity with you folks when it comes time to get that jet, saying that I, and I don't even want to use the word I, it's the entity will maintain responsibility for all costs involved. So, these things need to be above board, certainly when people from the public want to take a closer look at it.
Maybe one other thing just to add on as you were talking there, once assuming this gets up, how often 10-ish years, maybe needing to be repainted, some things like that, so that would be part of his plan as far as fundraising, at least I suppose for the first round of that 10 years down the road, or 8 years, 12 years, whatever that is, we have to do some of that to try to have that money sort of up front, so that's not all of a sudden 8-10 years from now, we're gonna come up with $15,000, $20,000 to do that job. I think that's part of the plan to include that right from the beginning.
And that business entity can continue on and on and on as another way of raising funds if we ever run out. But hopefully we collect enough up front that we can keep enough stashed away in a maintenance fund for down the road when we, those jets are gonna start looking a little rough after 10 to 15 years. So that's how we take care of it. Next slide.
That's the last one.
All right, questions?
I like it.
I like it too.
That's a neat idea. I definitely want to work.
I'm game with it. Okay, well, my goal will be simply to keep the school system and you folks totally involved with where we are at with any of our efforts from the business entity standpoint. I'll let you know when we get the 501c. I'll let you know when it's getting time to put together a fundraising campaign and yada yada, okay? The whole idea is keep everybody informed here, and we'll see where this goes. I'm gonna tell you the whole thing, it's just gonna be fun. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
Yeah, if I could maybe, Clayton, just possibly from your perspective as a town attorney, working with Augur as our school attorney, I don't know if there'd be some questions you guys may have, just so we make sure we know exactly what do we need to address before any official vote is taken by the town council, or any official vote taken by our board to make it, I guess, more than just talk, but officially moving forward. So any advice you guys will have on that will certainly want to hear.
Yeah, I appreciate it, and I'm sure, I mean, I'll keep a close eye on it, I'll talk with Audra. But yeah, I think that, you know, this isn't probably a project where you just have one official approval and then everything gets done. It sounds like moving pieces wise, there will be a few improvements throughout the way, but, I mean, obviously, it looks like an awesome project, even for, I mean, it just would be cool. So, I mean, just as exciting for me, so.
Do you expect everything to be done with the school side within a month?
No, I wouldn't say that. I think we're still kind of just working through, again, the insurance, anywhere from insurance liability to, again, where exactly is that right away? Like he mentioned, this was kind of a new development. He originally made a proposal to our board in November, and then kind of came back in December is the first time we kind of heard, our board kind of heard about the potential that maybe it might be a little better if we sort of lease the land, like you said, $1, whatever that becomes, and leasing that land, whatever that might look like exactly, where exactly that would be. So I don't know that there's not going to be a next week's school board meeting, any sort of formal or official vote taken on anything. I think we're just kind of continuing to move forward. I think really the biggest thing he was looking for again tonight and so far has from us is their support, generally speaking, to continue moving forward with gathering even more detail of what it might look like. And I think probably where you guys are sitting is where the school board is at as well a little bit. Let's keep this process moving, and then as we kind of discover, so what are the specific votes of approval that have to take place, that we're sort of already in the process of moving to make that happen.
Something that and we talked about this in my office, location as it was shown was the front of the school, but right of way, you get about 30 feet, was it? If I remember right, it was like 30 feet, and that's not wide enough. So location, you'll have to nail down the location. So that almost seems like it might be the hardest thing to do.
Yeah, I think, we've got two locations that I think will work. One's out by the Polk Street entrance, and the other's out by the flagpole, okay? And they'll work. It's not that big of a display if you put them side by side versus in tandem, shall I say, toward the street. So I think at the end of the day, it's going to be a decision the school has to make. They own the land, and they're the ones that need to make the decision where you want it. So
yeah, I think that's part of the discussion is so exactly, you know, I hear 30 feet and I have a general obvious understanding what 30 feet is, but once I actually go out there and you actually say, okay, this is where the line would be, what does that actually look like? And like you said, maybe rather than having it just wrapped around, it really has to extend out. If it's a little longer, narrower display of some sort, then that might not be as big of an issue as what it would be if you're trying to do maybe a circular sort of thing.
30 feet, wall to wall. Sound about right, Chris? 30 feet wall to wall? Pretty close to it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but, yeah, we had an hour and a half conversation in my office for a while, so, yeah, opportunities.
Yeah. Have you met with Todd? Have you met with Todd yet at all? Talk about it, look at any of that stuff. Justin?
Have I?
Yeah, just even.
No, not yet.
Yeah. So those are just, again, for your benefit, some of the things we'll continue to look at.
I appreciate you coming in tonight.
okay, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, what else we got?
That's all.
Okay. Let's go to the fire department. You got one, sir, Chris?
We're good. I'll try to get you a year-end report here the next month. I didn't have time to get that stuff done for this month.
We'll see you.
Did you want to talk about that, Mike? I'll go grab it.
Huh?
Did you want to talk about that?
Oh, the clock?
Yeah, I'll go grab it.
So I can tell you, I guess if you want to talk about that, our plan right now is this area over here where the drinking fountains are. We're going to take those drinking fountains out, close off that water line, and we're going to build a display rack in that offset area right there. So we're going to talk with Eckhart's about building some wood cabinets with glass doors and stuff. So we can put some trophies and that clock and everything in there at the display cabinet.
That would be great.
Okay.
I'm afraid to hang on the ball, I don't want it to fall, and I don't want somebody just to walk off with it, so, we want to put in more security.
Okay. Thanks, Chris. We'll help with that too. Okay. Clerk,
Couple of things. We need to discuss the rate increase for sewage. This last sewage increase was to break even. We're not building anything, so we really need to have you guys kind of guide us on.
Reach out to Baker Tilly and see where we were at. I mean, it was a 7% increase, if I remember right, roughly, and that was to break even. I can't remember what the build fund number was. It was at least 10, but to make it easy and less burdensome, just like we did when we did our sewer increases and the water increases, not such a heavy blow all at one time, so.
I think the increase in 2025 was just to break even and bring it up.
Yeah, it
So
wasn't
we
gonna
need
go
to talk to Baker Tilly and bring them back to do a 2026 battle, so we can raise that up.
So you want me to contact them again?
I would say yes.
I don't want to have to do another stormwater study,
Come.
that's,
I think we can just get their input on it and ask them where we were at. I think we needed to go another 3 or 4% last year. Not much is gonna change between then and now.
I don't mind if they show up or not. I mean, obviously, we need to get a hold of Baker Tilly and do that.
Yeah, just get us some input on it.
Yeah.
We'll bring it for the next meeting.
And I think we made it quite clear there's probably gonna be another raise in the sewage.
yeah, I'm pretty certain we did. Okay, Monroe Wellness has contacted me and has a couple of questions. The sip and shop that she did a few weekends ago, right before Christmas, said that she brought in roughly 122 not residents, but customers coming in to shop, the area shops, and she wanted me to thank Justin and Carthen for putting up the Christmas lights, making the town look Christmassy. She would like to ask permission if it would be okay to bring in a coffee truck once a month to park in the parking lot, advertised, of course, but it's the same specific coffee truck that Zerkers uses, or excuse me, Best One uses. Can't think of their name. Zimmerman girls are the ones who run it. But anyway, she would like to know if it would be okay with you guys if she were to bring in a coffee truck and offer coffee to customers and residents and.
That's fine.
I don't have a problem with it as long as it's just, once every so often.
Last is she would like to understand the maintenance of the parking lot, how often it will be resurfaced, and any kind of landscaping stuff, and
Landscaping is not we're on the parking lot only in the alley. So I mean,
We specifically.
the average rule of thumb for any kind of ceiling on that is every 3 years. I do not know when it was done last, so we may be able to have that done this year. We budgeted money for roads. So there's money that's there that's not gonna be used since we didn't get the grant. The other thing that I am gonna look into is some more crack sealing before, if you notice downtown Andrew Street, where we did some of this paving and there's concrete underneath the road, it really takes a beating. There's no way to hide those cracks coming through unless you tear it all out or redo it. So to stay ahead of any kind of bad potholes, I'm gonna look into seeing what it's gonna take to do some crack sealing on the rest of the streets that we haven't really touched that are still in good enough shape to put some of that down on. So, but other than that, we've got money budgeted that I can get some pricing to seal the parking lot, restripe it.
How bad is the parking lot? I haven't been there, so I don't know.
I think her only complaint right now is there was a snow truck or something that hit a big
Those curbs
truck.
are makeshift. I mean, they're just put in there with a couple small pins. So once the thaw comes, those will all get put back.
Okay, so what do I say about the landscaping? She's on her
I mean,
own?
that's on her own.
I'll stop.
Even though she doesn't own that, you're giving
She
her.
She rents that.
Oh, yeah, she rents the building. That's between her and the landlord. Actually, she does own the building.
She owns that building now.
She owns that building. That's up to her to maintain.
Landscaping is, okay.
Yeah.
I guess the bigger question is you need to look at the survey and see if it encompassed the trees, or if it was strictly the asphalt. Okay.
Because me and Dan talked about that.
There you go.
Okay.
Before we had it beat over. What trees? I mean, the trees along between the.
There's 2 trees, one on each side of Andrew Street at the entrance going off into Andrew. That's the exit.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure whenever.
The other 2 are right by the building on each side by the steps.
I mean, I'll double check, but I'm almost 100% sure that it only involved asphalt.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing too.
Okay. That's all I have.
Okay. Clayton, what do you got for us?
We'll probably forget something, but one thing I just need to seek approval for, there is, and I'm not gonna, name the property or names, but there's a certain resident that was issued multiple nuisance ordinance violations by the superintendent. There was then, that resident then received a notice, a violation from our office more recently, which was served by our town marshal. Still no response and no abatement of that nuisance. I know Justin can attest to, there's been at least one resident that pretty regularly complains about the fact that the nuisance has not been abated. So the way our nuisance ordinance reads is the next step would be for an enforcement action, which is a formal lawsuit by which I can get a court order that the court would order that individual to abate the nuisances, and or if they don't abate the nuisances within so many days of the court's order, that the town of Monroe can enter upon their property and abate the nuisance itself, and then charge and lien that property for the cost of that abatement.
Go for it. My opinion, we passed the ordinances for that reason, so.
So I just requested a motion.
I'll make a motion to enforce what's been already served multiple times.
Do I hear a second?
Yeah, I mean, and the ordinance is the ordinance.
Well, and I mean,
I'll second it.
I get some reservations from that. I understand that. I understand there's a lot of reservations generally, whether it be, I think Commissioner Bailey would say, I mean, there's reservations about nuisance ordinances countywide. But to the point that it does come with enforcement. And to be honest, that's not to say, and actually in my role for the county, Commissioner Bailey would also say, I've had to initiate enforcement actions before, and even with any private civil lawsuit, sometimes, yes, it will incur the cost of us having to incur the cost of a filing fee, but that may be enough to finally get the person's attention, that rather than appearing in court, we can get something taken care of.
We're working on that exact situation this week. Clayton's working on it. Believe me, he's the guy to help you through this. He's been helping us, and like he said, sometimes just that last step will cause that owner to come to the table and say, hey, I may not be able to get it abated by your deadline. Can you give me 2 months? Can you give me 3 months? Can you give me little weather breaks? And Clayton's been working, actually just reviewed a document from him this week that is doing exactly that same thing for us, the county. So I understand your hesitation.
I just don't want to be throwing, weight around and making it seem like, you know what I mean? Like,
I know, I get it.
It's a touchy subject or a situation, and I mean, it is their property at the end of the day.
So there again, keep in mind too, that these nuisance ordinance violations don't go out unless we're contacted.
Right.
In writing, like it's in writing, because I want to be able to file it in a file so I can have record of the complaint. But then on Clayton's end of it, if it comes down to it, Clayton, do we have to do that removal or can we contract that to somebody?
You can use commercially reasonable means to perform the abatement. That doesn't mean that the town itself has to. So
Okay.
if we hired a service to abate it and then because they simply, because at that point, if we're abating the nuisance, the property owner's not only been violating our ordinance, but they're also in contempt of court because they haven't listened to the court's order. And then they will assess damages based on the price.
I'm all game for going and mowing and taking down a bunch of tall weeds and cleaning that stuff up, but to throw away somebody's belongings, I'm not getting into it. So that's kind of why I was asking, like, if it's gotta be, if there's a bunch of trash laying out that needs to be thrown out, I don't want to get into that.
Correct. And again, I mean, I think you guys know, my practice is generally honey over vinegar. I mean, I understand Josh's reservations as to it, but it wasn't simply anecdotal. I mean, like Steve just said, I mean, I had to recently file it was close to 10 nuisance ordinances for a certain portion of the county. At least at this point now, a majority of those owners within a week of those actions being filed have contacted my office and we're working through and formally resolving and then getting it abated. So again, it shouldn't have to have gotten this far, but some cooperation would have prevented that in the first place.
And I agree with that. And they've been given the chance to appeal.
Multiple times. Yeah.
So, I
I
mean,
mean, they can appeal the
that's in
court
the
order.
cert, so they've had a chance to come here to appeal, to plead their case, and that has not been done.
Well, all in favor?
Aye.
There you go.
I don't have anything further unless you guys had anything for me.
Anybody out here have any comments they'd like to bring? You gotta do appointments. Yes. Yeah, we do have to do appointments.
I don't have the list, I didn't even think of that.
Well, let's have it ready next.
We're tabling appointments.
Board president, that's what I'm curious about. Who's the board president?
Oh, yeah.
Rachel. I know.
We'll vote on those appointments next meeting then. And I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
Well, you have other business
Oh, we do?
or public. Right?
It's done.
Nobody else?
No.
Okay.
You asked if anybody else had any issues, right, or any?
Yes, I did. Nothing else?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
Aye.
Everybody? Thank you.